Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. My name is Jerry Palmer, Vice President of Client Engagement here at the Facilis Group. I am also a veteran of the U.S. Army. Spent 14 years in the military, various deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. So today's mission is extremely important to me. I have a group of wonderful women here that are going to introduce themselves and some of the amazing projects that they're involved in. So Jessica, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your background?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So my name is Jessie Carzoli. I'm the Associate Director of Corporate Partnerships for Wounded Warrior Project at our Jacksonville, Florida headquarters. I've been with the organization about 13 years. I have loved every minute. It's a wonderful organization to be a part of, and I'm really happy to be here and proud to be here with our partners SnugZ and Facilis.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy DiFrancesco, and I am the VP of Sales here at SnugZ. And I have been with SnugZ for 14 years. And actively participating with Wounded Warrior Project and Carry Forward. And I get the absolute honor to help sell a Basecamp that is directly contributing to Wounded Warrior. Every purchase gets donated. So that to me is a huge honor for me to have to work with our sales team and with our customers as well.
I am Brittany David, Chief Revenue Officer at SnugZ USA and big Wounded Warrior Project fan. I get to work with Jessie and all the freaking amazing people over at WWP who are just super inspiring. So we're excited to keep their mission going and give back.
Let's get into it, right? So the first kind of question I have for you guys is, first off, let me just say thank you for hopping on. I love the Wounded Warrior Project. I really do. I love that SnugZ and you guys are getting together, and I also love that we can be a part of it. I think it's just so awesome that I know, and the people that I know that have been to war, and are impacted, they understand what you guys do. They understand the message, and they understand that you guys are there for them. And anything that helps you guys in that mission is just amazing. So thank you, number one. I do have a question though. So for those people that are really unfamiliar with the Wounded Warrior Project, those outside of the military community and things like that, can you explain a little bit about the work that you guys do and really what's the mission that you guys feel you have to complete?
I can jump in there if that works.
Perfect.
So the mission of Wounded Warrior Project is to honor and empower injured veterans. So we do that through direct programs and services, and we serve those who are post 9/11 veterans. So anybody who has been injured, the visible and invisible wounds of war, and being a direct program and service provider, we have about 20 programs and services that kind of fall into four different categories. We have financial health and wellness, physical health and wellness, connection, so getting warriors out of their homes, connecting with other veterans. And then one of the biggest ones for us in terms of investment and those that we're seeing come to our organization is mental health and wellness. So that's huge. And the way we look at all of our programs is the main goal of all of them is to prevent suicide. Yeah. More injured veterans have returned home and have taken their own lives, unfortunately, than were killed in action. So that is our main goal and our main mission. Offering those direct programs and services so warriors know they're not alone, so they get the help they need and whatever that looks like, and really looking at each warrior holistically.
Yeah, I think it's so amazing. So I've had so many friends that obviously have went overseas, have been involved in war and came home, and you talk about the invisible wounds, right? Those are the ones that really hurt the most, and so many different veterans have come home with those wounds. And being a military guy, you want to be macho, you don't want to talk about it. And just some of the programs that you guys are a part of that get people out and get them talking about it they're so amazing. So thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for working with SnugZ and different companies. So let me ask, so what prompted kind of the partnership between you guys and SnugZ?
Yeah, so for many that are listening, they probably know that SnugZ acquired a company called SWETA a couple of years ago. So the story actually starts with the amazing people at SWETA, where they were looking to bring in a speaker. They needed some perspective and some inspiration, and were connected to Dan Nevins, who is a dear friend of mine and Jessie's and Kathy's and the people at SnugZ, and a lot of people in our industry. But he came and spoke and talked about his story, Dan was injured in battle, came back, and had lost both of his legs. And so he had talked about his story, his inspiration, what he's done. And he had a not-for-profit that he was working with back in the day, Warrior Spirit Retreat. And so SWEDA had started donating to Warrior Spirit Retreat. And as that grew and that donation grew and as Basecamp grew, Dan partnered with Wounded Warrior Project because he wanted to work on getting a bigger reach than he was able to offer. So Wounded Warrior Project and Dan got together to establish the partnership between SWEDA and now SnugZ. Back in the day, and SWEDA had developed a Basecamp line, which I'm sure most people have heard of. It started with drinkware and bags, but has grown into pens and notebooks. But 1% of the sales that come back to SnugZ is actually donated to Wounded Warrior Project with a minimum of $100,000. In addition, we do a $40,000 in-kind donation every year. And we also do our Carry Forward, which Facilis is a part of this year, which is pretty freaking awesome. And we are so excited about that. Yeah, it started with somebody looking for some inspiration and someone who had an unfortunate past bring some hope and inspiration to others that carried on, that's carrying us forward.
So can you dig deeper in a little bit about how SnugZ has really contributed to that Carry Forward mission and how that's really contributed to like making these efforts more impactful around, the veteran community?
Sure, I'll take that one. So what we do, so the Carry Forward is really important in terms of rallying people in our own community and also across too, because not everyone is a veteran, right? Or a wounded veteran, but you'd be surprised how many of us actually have one in our lives. And when you start to, and that is really what was so amazing to me, was like a really eye-opening piece when Dan would come and talk, and other veterans would come and talk too, was you think about it and you're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so, I've got a relative or a distant cousin, and some of them have lost a lot of people while in mission, or we just know somebody. So doing Carry Forward allows non-veteran or non-active military to be involved to support, because most of us do, right? And so that, and then it's easy, like a 5K, you get to rally around each other, you get to promote such an amazing cause ultimately to help an individual, a human being. And you can also help the families that are around the veterans who are also just as impacted by it. And I think that's what's so cool about the Wounded Warrior program itself, is they include that. They include the families too, which is really special too. So everyone can contribute. So, and then we rally. And so we really do a big promotion around Carry Forward, raise money. We all set our own goals, personal goals. We invite people into it. And it's just a really good feeling that we can contribute to this in our own way.
Well, I can tell you that feeling is carried over to Facilis as well. We're really excited to be a part of it. And I think when Trish first kind of broke the news to me, it was awesome. I think we were able to kind of hold a stand up within our company as well too, and talk about it, and just to see everybody and how supportive they were for it, it really made my day. Honestly, it probably made my month. It was great. So thank you for allowing us, both of you, to be a part of it in such a big way. And hopefully one day, we can be as impactful as you guys and have something like Carry Forward. But we always want to be a part of it moving forward. So just so you know, being a veteran, right? Being someone who has been overseas, kind of came back with both those physical as well as those mental, issues and things like that, right? I just want to give you guys a little bit of success story that I had here in St. Louis, because it's been great, right? So Chris Miller, again, I talked about him a little bit, but he's a buddy of mine who I went to high school with, and he's a big part of the organization. I was still in the military, believe it or not. I'm like 20 now. It's like, 15 back then or whatever. But so I had a soldier who came to me, he was really hurting, had lost his home, had lost his wife, had lost pretty much everything he had, right? So he came to me. We were able to give him kind of a place to stay in the barracks while he was trying to, get himself, off of drugs and alcohol and things like that. I reached out to Chris. Chris was able to support and help him in a way that they were able to get him a place to stay, right? Not only that, they went above and beyond. They were able to help him get into trucking school. They were able to help him get through trucking school. And they provided a blueprint for him, and not just a physical way to support himself, but a mental way as well too. And, just thinking back on that, you don't see that in life a whole bunch, right? You don't see that come from just, the basic person a lot. And having someone truly understand what a veteran goes through was just such an awesome thing for me. And then, the next time I was able to see him, he was actually helping wounded warriors at a local event, which was even better because they were putting on this local event here in St. Louis, and it was for people who had been physically hurt overseas, right? But not just for veterans, for other people as well too. And they were putting on like this hockey game, and it was just something simple, and just seeing everyone so happy and just so brightened, and just, it was such a good feeling. So I just wanted to share that with you, that if you ever, think that the mission ahead is hard, it's worth it. It's always worth it. And, thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that. So I just kind of wanted to share that a little bit.
Can I just say something on that? I think you just gave a great example of our logo. Like, it's one warrior carrying another off battlefield. And the goal is that through Wounded Warrior Project support, through the support of corporate partners like SnugZ, through, the community that veterans have with each other, and that we can sometimes help facilitate when they leave the military or leave the service, that they're able to then become the warrior on the bottom carrying others off. And so I love that story, because that was kind of a full circle moment of somebody, needing help, accepting it, asking for it, then turning around and paying it forward. Like, that's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let me ask this question. So it's for both of you. Can you share maybe some memorable success stories that you guys have seen and been a part of that have benefited people directly from your guys' relationship, SnugZ and Wounded Warrior?
I mean, I have one that comes to mind. If that works, Sal Gonzalez is a Marine Corps veteran and a wounded warrior, and he went and spoke at SnugZ within the past couple of years, I believe. He decided to serve after seeing the Twin Towers fall on 9/11. A lot of those who decided to join the military after that was a big motivating factor. So it's a occurrence that holds a special place in our heart as an organization and a lot of those that we serve. So he went to Iraq, and he was attacked many times, but I think it was the seventh time his Humvee was blown up, and he ended up losing his leg in Iraq. And he came home and, basically was drinking a lot, was isolating, as he jokes, pity party for himself. And just was really going through a dark phase. His family didn't understand, or at least he felt like they didn't understand his friends. And Wounded Warrior Project invited him to an event out with other warriors. And he says that he showed up, and it was the first time he realized that he's not a special little snowflake. And the way that he meant that was that he was kind of thinking, oh, I'm the only one who's gone through this. It's all, and he realized my brother over here, my sister over here has gone through their own, demons and similar things. So that was kind of, that connection piece, getting him out to an event to realize he's not alone, was the first kind of launching point, where then he became involved in our other programs and services. So Soldier Ride, adaptive sports, where, we were able to, no matter what the injury is, we're able to create an opportunity for injured veterans to really participate fully and enjoy themselves. And then he's gone on to a whole host of other events with us, other programs with us, and he credits Wounded Warrior Project with really saving his life. And now he is a spokesperson. So kind of, again, full circle, he got to come to SnugZ and express gratitude and share his story, and just the importance of the American public supporting veterans like him who have been injured, and really allowing them to not just survive in their new normal, but really thrive.
Yeah, Sal's a stud. He is an awesome musician and singer, and he is so fun. I think he's on Spotify, and he's kind of touring all over the country, so look him up. He is funny and fun and creative. I would say with Carry Forward too, it's done a few things for SnugZ where I think it gives a sense of pride. Is we unite together as a community. So not only our SnugZ employees. But also it's really fun to do this with Facilis, and we look to bring in more partners and competitors because it is overall such an amazing mission. And the give back is so rewarding. And I think it gives a sense of pride to our veterans that are at SnugZ or who participate. So Brandon Brown, our VP of marketing, you just see him light up in the memories he had and give back there. And Steve Weisbaum, who's one of our reps in California, I mean, there is this piece that's almost like lit in them that reignites whenever we talk about WWP or Basecamp or Carry Forward, that I don't know how else you tap into that. And you just see that energy. And then as we share it, other people are like, oh, I've been affected by this, or my friend, or there's all the stories that come up in this total communal event that's way bigger than, just raising the money, which raising money is awesome because it goes back to the mission for WWP, but it's that community that you built that continues to carry on.
It's just that community aspect of the whole thing, it's and just like you said earlier, it's, you go through the military and you go through basic training and then you go through war and you're this big macho guy or woman, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want to tell anybody that I've got issues. I don't really have these issues, but then you see this whole community of people that are willing to share and be there for you. And it's so impactful. And it's just so great to hear that, there's companies outside of the Wounded Warrior Project like SnugZ that's pushing that, and you've got people, in your infrastructure that work there that are just lighting up and a part of it and want to be a part of it. So it's just such a good organization, and the way you guys handle things is great. And again, I'm probably going to say this for the 15th time, but thank you so much for letting Facilis be a part of it as well too. Let me ask you this. So what advice would you give other companies looking to kind of create that same meaningful impact with, Wounded Warriors or, different other contributor organizations outside of Wounded Warriors? So what advice would you give other companies to kind of look to create kind of the same thing you guys have created?
Well, one thing I would say, we will take all of the positive reinforcement back for WWP, right? We have Carry Forward, which they can help support WWP there. We have the Basecamp line, which I don't want to make this a big sales pitch, but the more merchandise that's bought through Basecamp does go back to WWP as well. And there are so many things, and Jessie can kind of take the handoff after I wrap up here of other ways to help support WWP. But in general, I think it's in SnugZ DNA to do good. So even before we had acquired SWEDA, even before this Basecamp venture that we've been on, advice to people who are looking to do something good is make sure it's authentic to you. Because as we had talked about creating a give back program way back in the day, we couldn't figure out a way to create something that we felt was authentic and not gimmicky to give back. And that was one of the things that we admired so much about SWEDA, is they had done this from a grassroots altruistic effort. And I had listened it was in 2020 to a podcast that I believe Mark Cuban was on, and he had talked about it's okay to do well by doing good. And that resonated with me because we've always talked about, there's something that just doesn't feel right of like putting something towards something that's being purchased that you're also doing well off of to give back. And it was an interesting perspective for him to say if that wasn't out there, then it couldn't lead to that give back piece of it. So it's okay. So I would just say, make sure that you're authentic and it is something that fits you well as you look to spark this, because the giving back piece, it's a leap, but when it becomes a part of you, it's so rewarding in so many ways that is way past monetary. But a lot of these organizations like WWP, they need the monetary investment to be able to invest in the programs that they have to expand and keep this going further.
Yeah, well, if you didn't figure it out before, you guys definitely hit the nail on the head with this one. So it's just such a great success story. I mean, I remember like small things, right? Like, on Facebook when it's your birthday, how you can do a charity organization or something. Like I do it for Wounded Warriors and I would collect $200, right? But just seeing like just the amazing partnership and the money that you guys bring into the program, it's a wonderful thing. And again, we definitely support it here, and we're so happy to be along for the ride as well too. So thank you for that.
No, and it's partners like you guys that make it possible, right? We have merch and we have all these great ideas, but it has to go into action through people who believe not just in the products, but in the purpose through people like Facilis. And it means a lot, and it means a ton that you guys are supporting us this year.
Absolutely. Last question. So how can kind of your average, everyday person help support the Wounded Warrior mission?
Thank you for asking that. So I think this podcast is a perfect example. Awareness, talking about issues. I know we've talked a bit about stigma with mental health. There's stigma around food insecurity for veterans. How can they be hungry? This, that, and the other. So I think just being aware and helping combat the stigma that veterans might face by, just really learning, making that an effort, talking to veterans, learning their story. We do rely on the generosity of the American public. Our average donation is $20. So Jerry, that $200 you raised, it goes to a good place. It means a lot to us. Like, we are grateful for every penny that is donated. So we're always grateful for any amount. You can support partners like SnugZ and their partners like Facilis. That's a great way. We have a lot of wonderful corporate partners out there. And then we do a lot of advocacy on Capitol Hill. So in addition to our programs and services, we also have a team in DC that is very active. Within the past couple of years, we just helped pass the PACT Act, which is toxic exposure. And we have a whole list of legislative priorities. Women warriors are on there, and several others that we're really working hard to push forward. So lend your voice to those, spread the word about those. That's big. And then I know SnugZ, a special place in their heart is those carry forwards, which are very fun. We have some city ones, but you can also do them virtually from anywhere like SnugZ does. So you can always participate in one of those. It's a wonderful, patriotic, fun event. You can carry a weight, a flag, or another person, like our logo. So that's another fun option. And then, hosting little fundraisers or events, anything like that. We're very grateful.
Awesome. Great. Well, you heard it. Join SnugZ mission. Everybody that's hearing this podcast, get on board and help out the Wounded Warrior Project, and just be somebody that wants to help. I think that's just such a great thing. So, hey, listen, thank you so much. I really appreciate both of you. Everything that you are involved in when it comes to this mission is amazing. And, coming from a veteran who's, been through some of this stuff, I can't thank both of you enough. So thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing.
Thank you, Jerry. This has been great.
All right. Awesome. And if you need anything in the near future, hit me up, let me know. I'll be around.
Yay. Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.